Well, hello again, friends, and welcome back to Roll Call. And for our usual audience, it's outstanding to be here with you again. For our new audience, and there's always new people coming every week, welcome. This is the forum where we dig deeper into the principles that our team has introduced to you by way of our keynotes, breakout sessions, workshops, and the Top Gun Teamwork Program. And if you and I have not yet met, my name is Robert Teschner, call sign Cujo. I'm the founder and CEO here at Team VMAX Group, and I welcome you. And this week's reflection is on the mental disposition, actually, the leadership disposition, actually, the way it is that we intend to intentionally show up to lead. And it's an important conversation. It's important because too often we get caught up in the moment. We, as leaders and teammates, have low levels of emotional intelligence. We don't interact appropriately. We're quick to criticize. We can rush to judge. We don't support each other. We assume the worst, and it doesn't help us to win in a sea of never ending disruption. And it's disruptive out there, isn't it? Good. So, we're going to talk about how it is that we show up, and we're going to learn to be intentional about doing so the right way. And now, as we typically do here at Roll Call, we're going to pull from the world of fighter aviation to inform how it is that we lead in business. And one of the things that we had to learn to do very early on as pilots in general, and especially as fighter pilots later on, was learn to show up the right way so that we could come back home alive. And just think about it. I mean, I guess it's probably safe to say most people that are tuned in here have seen the Top Gun movies. Good. You know, it's a dangerous place. You're going fast always. There's no pause button. You can't just take a timeout midstream and go, "Hey, what's going on here?" You're always moving forward at a high rate of speed. When you pull back on the stick, you're pulling against the force of gravity. In the F-15, F-22, F-16 Air Force fighters in general, you're going up to 9+ Gs, meaning all the blood's racing out of your brain into your hands and feet, your extremities. You're fighting to stay awake while you're making high quality decisions and looking to stay alive and get the mission done. And it's a very complex place to work. It's a really complex business in general, and how you show up really matters. And one of the things we learn to do is to show up appropriate. We learn to get rid of the distractions that are out there. Always, there's always distractions in life. We learn that when we strap into the F-15, F-22, whatever it is we're flying, that right now we've got to be locked into only this. All right. So it doesn't matter. Huge fight with your spouse the night prior. We've got to forget about that for a little while. Uh, just got a horrible bill from the IRS. Got to try to forget about that for a little while. Wondering, whether or not we're going to take the new position that was just offered to us. What a huge opportunity, but it means uprooting the family and moving them overseas. So we're going to forget about that for a while. We're going to forget about minimize any discussion or thoughts about these other things so we can lock in right now and firmly engage. Why? Because this business is so difficult, so dangerous, so complex. If we're not fully locked in, decent chance we can make a mistake that's going to cost us. And we don't want that to happen. So we're gonna show up fully locked in and ready to engage. And that's important. Another thing that comes from the world of fighter aviation. While we're zipping across the skies out there, it's very, very easy to get like totally stuck in this moment, to lose big picture situational awareness to a degree where we can ultimately be so focused on this one minor thing that we end up not achieving mission success. So another thing that I'm going to do is I'm getting ready to go fly. Part of how it is that I show up when I fly fighter aircraft, or at least when I did, was reminding myself that throughout this mission, I'm going to seek to take a moment, pause, distance, and assess. As we're executing, as I'm scooting across the skies at Mach 1.7, I'm going to take time out for just a fraction of a second, get out of my little world in my cockpit and seek to see the big picture of where we are as a formation in relationship to where we need to be to get the mission done. And I'm going to do that as frequently as I can. And it's part of my mental disposition to seek to maintain high situational awareness at all time and not just get just sucked into this vortex of like this one thing that I'm doing right now is the most important only thing in my life. I can't afford to do that if I'm going to lead effectively. And in other words, I'm going to be very intentional about how it is that I engage in order to be able to lead and team effectively in that world. And most of us would say, yeah, that makes perfect sense, Cujo. Can't afford for some distracted pilot to be out there flying a $154 million piece of equipment and fly it into a mountain or hit a teammate or do something else horrific. Good. So why is that any different from what it is that we're doing day in and day out with our teammates? And I suppose, okay, maybe the speeds are less, maybe the consequences are less, but having the right mental disposition, coming into this thing prepared to lead, showing up intentionally, that's probably warranted no matter what we're doing, no matter what team we're talking about, whether it's the home team, whether it's the church team, whether it's the team that you coach in your free time, or whether it's your team at work. All of those teams are important. All of them require us, regardless of position, to show up appropriately, prepared to engage and lock in. And this is one of the things we talk about all the time in the Top Gun Teamwork program. In fact, in that program, starting about lesson 8 is where I start asking my students, hey, are you in a debrief to win frame of mind? And what I find is, because I haven't defined what that means, when I ask folks, they're usually very kind and they say something engaging like, yes, Cujo, I am. I'm here to learn. Yes, Cujo, I'm in that frame of mind. I'm here to learn how to debrief. Yes, Cujo, I'm in that frame of mind because I'm in this class. All of which are wonderful answers, kind of distant from where we're going to eventually get to. As we continue to go through the course, as I keep on asking the question, but also give examples of what that means, we start to realize what it takes. And for us in the Top Gun Teamwork program, that means coming in intentionally, seeking to understand before we rush to judge. Taking a moment to assess what's my emotional intelligence right now and seeking to boost it, being able to self regulate so that we can help manage the relationship that we have with the rest of the teammates on this team. Very, very important. Assuming positive intent from our teammates. Instead of immediately assuming the worst, assuming the best, seeking again to understand, trying to be empathetic, giving people credit for where it was that they were, understanding again the context in which they made the decisions they did, to appreciate what might have influenced them to make a bad decision, to understand why a bad decision that they made might have been the best decision that they were capable of making in an effort to help mentor, coach, and teach them through into a better tomorrow. In other words, this debrief to win state of mind is an intentional way of showing up to lead effectively. What I find is if we don't do that, if we don't seek to show up correctly, effectively, it's so easy to get kind of caught up in that little micro universe that's right now very frustrating. And when it's compounded by all the other things that are going on in life, it's very easy for us to kind of lose our minds from time to time, to come in and to attack from the top rope, to blame, to criticize, to accuse, to judge, to have low empathy, to have low emotional intelligence, and in so doing, to very quickly crush the team that we're depending on to help us to make it through this current series of challenges. Because there's never just one, right? There's all kinds of things that keep on coming. It's like waves in the ocean, they come in threes. Yeah, it's too easy to lose our minds because of all the other stuff that's happening and all the stuff that's happening here. And it's not a good way to lead, it's not a good way to team. So, the idea is let's pull from the world of fighter aviation here. Let's recognize that there are lasting implications to the way that we're leading our teams right now. There are lasting implications to the way that we show up and team, regardless of whether we're a leader right now. And we want to bring our best, don't we? Good. That's why we're here, right? We're trying to lead our best. We want to be the best possible leader. And so, what I would propose that we all commit to as we go into this weekend is that we come in to work on Monday, showing up appropriately to the position that we have. And if that means taking a moment to just kind of pause, assess all the different distractions that we have, and to seek to try to remove them from our consciousness for right now so we can lock in and we can engage, maybe that's a good first step. Maybe another good first step is to seek to try to present tone, attitude, disposition, overall approach towards the positive, being intentional to not rush to judge in that first conversation, tough conversation with a tough teammate, seeking to understand, to have some empathy, to understand the context within which people are making the decisions, and realizing that if at some point along the way we stumble or fall, we didn't quite do that, we start back over again and we give it another shot. And if we can do that on Monday and then again on Tuesday and then carry that through till Friday, chances are we're going to have an exceptional week. And if we can continue that forward to the following week and then continuing it throughout the month, all the way through the end of the quarter, all the way through the end of this year, yeah, probably we're rising to the occasion and leading the way that our teammates need us to. And we as teammates are teaming the way our leaders need us to, and our teammates do as well, all in the effort of teaming as effectively as we can. That's important. And that's our focus. And so let's commit to taking action on this, bold action on this week in order to improve the state of teamwork on our teams this week. Good. And just know that all of us at Team VMAX Group are always rooting for you. And I personally look forward to seeing you in the next roll call.